winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Here we are, 2026, already a month and a half into the year. And what is 2026 in terms of traveling, Wanderlusters? It is the year of intentional travel. What do we mean by that? Stay tuned to find out more, but please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. We're on all of them, including YouTube. And want to give a shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. Make your dream vacation a reality with Nick Menard and Associates for sponsoring today's episode. Happy Wanderlust Wednesday, sir.
Happy Wednesday, Will. Hello, winners.
Hello.
Exciting for today.
Yeah. All good stuff. So, intentional travel. So this definitely an intriguing topic. And I think like high level, it sounds like how to help people shift from where should I go to why am I traveling in the first place? So this is going to be an introspective traveling episode. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And it's something that I wanted to talk about for a while because you have this idea that you need to know directly where you want to go, and you need to just contact a travel agent or go on Google and try to find the best way to book something based on something that you figure it out by watching TikTok videos or Facebook or Instagram. But what's the most important is the experience you're going to have. So if you can share the experience you're expecting with a travel agent, they will be able to ask you some question in order for you to get to maybe the place that you never thought of, but that will give you the best experience, which is something you will never forget, and maybe something you never thought at first place.
Love it. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot of things running in my mind, but I think I'll try to
Go.
interweave it as we go through it, because I know we have some like thought-provoking questions for our listeners to reflect on that ties exactly into what you're saying about helping them understand why, and then giving that guidance as to the why to the travel agents so that they can craft an itinerary that's just going to meet and exceed the expectations of your whys on that one. So, where should we go first? Let's see. So why don't we start with framing the mindset shift? So when you think about framing the mindset shift and having the why and being intentional with travel, how would you explain that to our winners?
Well, it's pretty much a Monday mindset episode inside the Wanderlust Wednesday. So we're staying consistent, winners. But in all seriousness, travel is no longer about checking boxes. People don't want more trips. They want better trips. So something I realized by talking to clients every single day is the more I build rapport with the clients, the more I understand that what they're looking for, it's something they have no idea where to go to get the most out of it. And again, yesterday, I had a call that was supposed to be a final payment for a client. And it was for a very nice trip in Italy. And it's a client who came to me from Facebook, literally a referral from someone. I took that person, booked a trip for almost 3 weeks in Italy. Very nice trip, going from Northwest to Amalfi Coast, Sicily, back to Rome. It's a really nice trip. I don't know the person. So we just had a conversation. He told me what he's looking for, the place he's looking to go in Italy. I put something together. He decided to do it. Final payment was yesterday. So normally it's a 5-minute call, not even. It's just like joining the call. Hey, sir, here I need the information. And then we just process it. End of story. The processing system was a little bit slow yesterday. So what do I do as, any business people? We start a conversation, until the system is working. And I realized that the person was living in Europe for 20 plus years because of his past job. He's now retired. But he felt like he never really traveled in Europe because he was always busy working. So when he was doing something, it was on a weekend or something, but he never really had a chance to suck it all in and really experience the different countries in Europe. So he wanted to bring his wife with him to Italy because he loved his time in Italy. And he tells me the kind of experience he wants now that he's retired. And I told him, did you think about this? Did you think about this? And what about that? And I could hear his voice changing. So he started explaining that he's a avid fisherman, that he loves to go to places where there's not a large population. He loves to experience, like, to go on trails. He loves things like that. So I try to tell him, did you already think about this place? Did you ever think about doing that kind of vacation instead? And like, he never thought about all of that, and he had no idea that it was actually an option. So I sent him some link to check out. In this morning, he sent me a long email saying, "Oh my God, I want to do all of this. I want to do all of this. Like, I didn't even know it was a possibility. So can you please help me do this next for the next 2-3 years? Plan his vacation." So this is the power of actually not stopping at the client wants A, I will provide A. Now, what about spending some time to understand the deeper, meaning of what a great experience is for the client? So that's why I'm saying they don't want more trips, but they want better trips. In this case, he's retired, so of course they will travel more, but it's more about the experience than the locations. After years of disruption, people are valuing time, presence, and meaning. So let's make 2026 like a year that shapes up, you know, things that people want to do instead of postponing to whatever may happen in 5 years. And that's something that I come up to, and it's a bit morbid, but my dad passed in 2018 at 67 years old, a year and a half after retirement. And he was always telling me, when I retire, I will travel everywhere. And I kept telling him, why you don't travel? You have vacation days. Why you don't use those for that? Well, when of my with my retirement, I will use that money to travel. Well, you never know what's going to happen. In this case, it was not even a disease. It's like unexpectedly death. But it means that he wastes so much time waiting to finally travel to only have a year and a half of actual travel done. And so don't be like my dad. Just use it now. Enjoy every year. Do an experience maybe once a year instead of travel 2, 3 times. Do one great one that you will never forget. And you will be able to share the experience with your family and friends as well and open the eyes of a lot of people. Like I felt I opened the eyes of my client yesterday for an hour instead of just the final payment for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and obviously, good for you, and also great for him and his wife because they're going to have now a more enriched experience as they take these additional trips. That kind of touches on some of those things, and that was kind of what I was originally thinking of a little bit is when I think about the reason why I want to travel. Sometimes it's different. Like sometimes I want to go to a place because I really want to get immersed in the culture and really learn about it. Sometimes I just want to have fun. Sometimes I want to have entertainment. Sometimes I want to have a physical activity, whether it's hiking or snorkeling or something like that. So I think that's important. And I think, part is like what's going on in life at the time. And can a vacation be that kind of like mental salve, if you will, to heal some of the wounds as we go through life and stuff like that through the vacation. But even like what you were saying with him with fishing, that he was an avid fisherman, and here you gave him some ideas and some things that he could do in places that he hadn't gone before, that really scratched that itch. So that I can imagine how
Mhm.
fulfilling that's gonna be for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So I guess, we've kind of touched on what is intentional travel, and we touched on, your personal story, and thank you for sharing, about why it resonates so strongly for you about not delaying travel. But is there anything else in which you think, like, why 2026? Why should 2026 be different for our Wanderlust Wednesday listener to think about?
Yeah, the why now moment is now.
Yeah.
So the key drivers to discuss, I think, is people are planning further ahead again. And I know we talked about this in recent Wonderless Wednesday. Why it's so important to book 6 to 12 months in advance, even more when it's international. Bucket lists are becoming action lists. So people start having, and I know you and me, we have a bucket list, and the bucket lists get bigger
Right.
and bigger and longer as we go. Travelers want clarity and certainty. So they want to make sure that they understand what they're gonna experience, and they are very clear about what to expect. So we need to be able to provide that to them. So extremely important. Experiences now outrank material purchases. So like I said, an experience, you can take it with you until the end. Material stuff, yeah, they're great at the moment that you receive them, but what is actually the meaning of it? You know? So experience outlasts that. And travel is viewed as personal ROI, not luxury. All right. So it's people say that, oh, I have a budget. And I always said, okay, if the budget is not enough for what the experience they want to do, or the experience will be less effective, I always said, take another year time to save more money, and you will be able to experience it way better next year. All right. But it needs to happen this year to make actually the commitment to do that. So when I said why 2026 is so important to actually reevaluate the way that you travel, is because at some point you need to start the process. Let's start the process this year, because the world has so many places that I'm sure you would love to experience. You cannot experience all these places in one time. Even when you do a world tour, a world cruise, or whatever it is, you will still miss part of the world that are extremely important to visit and experience. So take the initiative today to do that. 2026 travel conversation are starting earlier and with more intention than ever before. And that's my focus right now for myself. I'm not talking about, every travel agent, even in my agency, because we all at different stage of of our lives. But for me, at the stage of my life, with the experience I have in business and in travel, I want to make sure that this year I get to know people better and understand better how can I make a difference in their day-to-day life, or not in the day-to-day life, but in the vacation and the travel and the experience life. And I know I can do that, but I need to learn more about them. And it makes sense. I know I don't share anything that it's brand new, nobody ever heard of. But in this world of instant gratification as a business, let's close it, we tend to lose sight of a lot of client interaction to have in order to actually open better door. And it's not only for more money, it's to be able to let the experience talk for themselves. And sometimes you need time with the person to explain it. And another client last week, I know I'm very passionate about Antarctica. I mentioned Antarctica, and they said, "Oh, I never thought about it." And then I just shared 2 minutes of why Antarctica is so great and what they can experience. Now they booked it for January 2027, and they also bring friends with them, because they said, talk to them the same way you just talked to me about Antarctica. And that's the way to add more people, because the way you share experiences has a deeper meaning than what you may think if you just do a transaction. Someone called, they want to go there. Okay, I'm going to book there. But why they want to go there? Do they know that there are maybe other places with similar thing that they can experience there at a better price tag, where they can maybe stay longer, or they can maybe have a higher level of resort or hotels, because that place is more expensive? So have the ability to actually explain and expand instead of just transact. That would be something that I really want to do in 2026.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like you're, at different points of the episode so far, you've talked about like the role of the travel agent in guiding people on their new journey. And part of what I've heard you say is, kind of like what we've talked before on like Monday Mindset with mission of discovery, like really asking those questions to better understand not only what the client is looking for, but probing deeper to understand what is their makeup? Like what are some of the things that there are important to them, whether it's hobbies or principles or experiences. And then as a travel agent, you can take that information and give them guidance. I think the other benefit of using an agent is like you mentioned at the very beginning of this episode, you're talking to clients every day. So it's one thing to read about something online, or it's another thing to read a brochure or even watch a little YouTube video. It's quite another to learn about experiences from people who have actually been there and know some of the nuances of what are the things to do or what are the things to avoid that you may not get in a YouTube video, or you may not get online, or you may not get from ChatGTP or a brochure or a flyer, right? So maybe there's a little bit more, if you think, to expand upon about the value of the agent. Like at first, it seemed like you're talking about from the guidance to the agents, like do your due diligence to know your client, but maybe spin it a bit beyond about why the clients should consider using a travel agent with being more intentional with their travel.
Absolutely. And I think it comes to one thing. And actually I'm gonna answer this by saying I I saw a video a couple of days ago on I think it was on Instagram or Facebook from Anthony Robbins. Everybody knows Anthony Robbins. And he said the number one reason that so many business fail or new business fail is because they think about what they're selling instead of thinking about the client. What matter to the client instead of what matter about you to sell your product. And I will use the same thing here. If you are a travel agent who try to sell, and think about how much money you can make on each selling, start by focusing on the positioning. So position without selling. So, and that's what I did with the Antarctica experience. I just share what the experience will be if they decide to do so. And the experience sold it. Not because I came with numbers. I literally explained what will be the experience by going there.
Mhm.
With the person yesterday that now gonna do like Antarctica as well, Croatia, Galapagos, uh, um, New Zealand. It's because of a conversation, and I understood what matters to them, and that's how I was able to identify things. I didn't say I'm gonna send you quote for everything. I'm just saying I will send you some link, look at them so you can see the kind of experience that you can have while you decide to do those. Then he came back to me with, I want in this order, like for those dates, that's what I want to do with my wife.
Yeah.
So you position something without selling. Intentional travel requires clarity. So the clarity for me came from these stories. Like we said, story sells, right?
Mhm.
The traveler wants confidence, not complexity. They want to have something. And again, it's not for everybody. It's never 100%. But majority of people, definitely retirees or people who want business who have no intention to spend so much time trying to build something. They just want the ease that, hey, just take your luggage. I take care of everything from the time you step in the plane to the time you arrive in a destination, going to the resort or going to the ship, coming back. Everything is taken care for you. That's what more and more people want because they're so stressed and busy in their day-to-day life. So planning support removes stress. So let us plan for you. If you do it yourself, can you do it yourself? I'm not going to lie. Yes. Majority of things that we book for the client, you can book yourself. If it's a simple cruise, it's even easier. But why not have a specialist that can actually tell you more about what to do or give you some pinpoint about why you should do this instead of this? And at the end of the day, you decide. But it's important to have a person who've been through it or who's sold there often, that can actually tell you what you're missing out by just thinking that way. Experts help travelers avoid regret. That's a line I really like. And you don't want regret when you spend money to have an experience. So when travel is intentional, the planning has to be too. And that's where a role come to pass.
No, that makes total sense. And one other thing I was kind of thinking of, we've took it from the lens of the actual person, like who is intentional travel for. But I think sometimes it could be like, when I'm thinking about an example of my sister-in-law, right? Her son is turning 21 and she wants to make sure that his 21st birthday is memorable beyond just being able to drink legally and go and party, right? So, I mean, and so she's been thinking about all sorts of destinations. So sometimes it could be clients who are, yeah, they're obviously gonna partake in that experience, but the intent of the travel is to have a friend or a family member or a loved one, have an experience that maybe they wouldn't have had otherwise. But I guess maybe a little bit more on that, if there's something to expand upon, you think, in terms of that or related to that?
Yeah. So basically, you need to make it relatable. If for example, in the case of your sister-in-law, when she wants something for her son, well, have a relatable situation with a client that you have been handling it before. Have a situation that you can explain to your client. That's going to be huge because if she hear that so many people for their 21st birthday did those kind of trips and had a fantastic experience, that's going to be eye opening for them on maybe a change of direction at that age. You're not really sure what you're going to do, but that's going to be a huge plus. So it's perfect for, you know, having intentional travel is perfect for busy professional with limited time, for example. It's perfect for couples celebrating milestone, like families wanting real connection. In this case, for your sister-in-law, an experience for a young adult to experience a destination or experience a type of travel that they never thought before.
Mhm.
They may have connections that last a lifetime. It's good for empty nesters redefining freedom, for example, or entrepreneurs craving clarity and perspective. And I know we're going to have more on that in the coming weeks, maybe next week, with a guest that's going to come and explain the importance and the value of travel in certain situations. So intentional travel isn't about budget, it's about priority. And when you understand that, you will be able to go so much further in in experiencing more.
I love that. I love that. I think, it makes a lot of sense, and it's something that, I think our listeners, if they reflect on it and take it to heart, can help deepen the connection between what do they need and what do they wanna experience, and tying that into a dream vacation, that they can make come to reality with the help of Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. But, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. I know you got something else you wanna share.
yeah. So I know we talk about you know intentional travel to 2026, and we try to define it, but I want to showcase five very important shifts that define those intentional travel in this case for 2026.
Mhm.
I think those five that I put together, it's going from winning more to be more meaningful. So less hopping, more staying, depth over speeds if you want. So quality experience versus rush sightseeing. So you can spend 5 nights in one region instead of 5 cities in 7 days. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tweak your vacation without changing the budget per se, but have more experience for the time that you will actually be there. So that's number one. Number two, from generic to personalized. So I don't believe in the one size fits all kind of trip. And if it was the case, then we don't need to be there as travel agency. I believe that where you make the difference between one agency to another or one agent to the other, it's the time you spend to actually craft something that is very personalized. Traveler wants trips that match energy level, travel style, life stage, and we have the ability to connect those dots together. So a perfect trip for someone else may be the wrong trip for you, and it's okay. That's why we are here. Number three, from vacation to restoration. And that's something we're going to talk more with the guest coming up probably next week. Travel as recovery, not an escape. Wellness, space, balance is important, and travel will help you get there. Time to disconnect and to reconnect. So, does this trip you can ask yourself this question: does this trip give you energy or take energy away from you? And that's going to be a huge difference, but more to come. Number 4, from a spontaneous to strategical plan. So intentional travel plan smarter, not harder. Better pricing, better availability, better experiences. Intentional planning creates freedom, not restriction. And then finally, number 5, from someday to no. Start planning now. Don't wait the perfect time. Like I said with my dad, the perfect time may never come, or the perfect time will come to a time where you have very limited of time to do what you really want to do. So someday isn't on the calendar. I have my calendar here. I don't see someday anywhere. So
Nice.
2026 is the time. And that's what I want to leave you with. It's the importance to stop thinking that better timing will be happening in the future, because maybe this year is not the year that you will have the dream travel, but this year is the year that you will start planning for your dream travel.
Love it. There you have it, Wanderlusters and our winners. Just some great words of advice. Get connected, reflect on these sort of things that Nick shared today, and be sure when you have that commitment made, you then reach out to Nick Menard and Associates of Dream Vacations, who can make sure that through interacting with you and discussing that it really does hit the intention of what your travel and make that a memorable experience. So any last closing thoughts before we wrap, my friend?
Wow, there's a lot of closing thoughts. Yeah, it's definitely, I think I summarized already pretty intensively, but I want to reiterate, 2026 is not about traveling more, it's about traveling on purpose. And if you add purpose to the sentence, it makes more sense. That's how I would close it.
Love it. That's a mic drop moment right there. So we will wrap up on that note. Thank you, sir. So again, be sure to subscribe, share, and follow 2 for the Win on your favorite platform. And thanks again to Nick Menard and Associates of Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. Continue to whet that appetite on Wanderlusting, winners, and we will see you next Wednesday. Lots of W's in that sense. See ya, everybody. Take care.
Bye, winners.